Hi, it's me. And in this video, we are going to talk about a mountain that many scientists believe is the biblical Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark rested after the Great Flood. It's called Mount Nimrod, and it's located in eastern Turkey. Hey there, welcome to my channel where we explore the amazing discoveries of archaeology and what they reveal about the history of our world. If you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. The story of Noah and his ark is one of the most well-known stories in all of human history. The story tells how God, being displeased with humanity for their wickedness, sent a great flood to wipe out all life on earth, except for those who were inside the ark with Noah. After the floodwaters receded, the ark eventually came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. While the exact location of these mountains has been debated over the years, recent evidence suggests that they may have been located in modern-day Turkey. In the Bible, it says that when the floodwaters began to subside, the ark landed on the mountains of Ararat. Now, the exact location of these mountains has been a matter of debate since biblical times. Some early church fathers believed that Mount Ararat was actually on the Black Sea coast of northeastern Turkey. But by the 7th century, most Christian scholars had come to the conclusion that it must have been located somewhere in Armenia. This view was largely based on a mistranslation of the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. When the Septuagint was translated into Latin, the word Ararat became Ararat, leading most scholars to believe that it must refer to the highest peak in Armenia, which is indeed called Aragats. However, when the actual Hebrew term is looked at, it becomes apparent that it doesn't refer to a mountain at all, but rather to a plain. In fact, there is a plain in eastern Turkey named the Arafat Plain, and it just so happens that the biblical account states that the ark came to rest on the mountains of Arafat, not necessarily the highest peaks. Several other biblical scholars throughout history have suggested that the ark may have landed in Turkey. One such person was Sir William Ramsay, a Scottish doctor and travel writer who visited eastern Turkey in the late 19th century. He argued that the biblical account of the flood could be corroborated by geological evidence in the region. In his book, The Light of the East, or The Bible and Geology, he wrote, "It appears probable enough that the primary seat of the deluge was the Black Sea. The ark was probably on the mountains of Ararat, a lofty range forming the watershed between the basins of the Tigris and Euphrates on the one hand and the Phasis and Cyrus on the other. The highest peak is 1,685 feet above the sea, and its sides are deeply furrowed by glaciers. More recently, a team of American researchers led by geologist Andrew Collins and archaeologist Paul Reddit have argued that the mountains of Ararat are none other than Mount Nemrut, a dormant volcano located in eastern Turkey. They believe that the ark came to rest on the summit of the mountain after the floodwaters receded. Collins, who is the author of The Man Who Walked Through Time, a scientific expedition to the mountains of Ararat, the lost world of Noah's Ark, states that the evidence for this theory is compelling. Not only does the shape of the mountain match the description given in the Bible, but the geological evidence also supports it. Collins says that the sediment deposits at the top of the mountain are consistent with a global flood event. Additionally, when the team drilled several holes into the mountain to extract samples of ice from deep within it, they found that the ice contained microscopic plant and animal remains that date back to around 2500 BC, which would correspond with the time of Noah's flood. What makes Mount Nimrod particularly interesting is its unique shape. According to Collins, the mountain has a flat top that measures approximately 350 feet thick and about 3 miles wide. He believes that this flat area is the result of the ark having sat on the mountain, causing the rock beneath it to erode away over time. What's more, the team discovered several strange boat-shaped markings on the stone terraces near the summit, which they believe may be further evidence of the ark's presence. Collins said in an interview, "We concluded that we were looking at the physical remains of the biblical account. These were the very stones that the Lord had spoken about in the book of Genesis. We realized we were standing in the exact place where the ark had rested according to Scripture. However, despite this evidence, there are still some who doubt that Mount Nimrod is the biblical Mount Ararat. Many archaeologists, for example, reject the idea that a global flood could have occurred in the region, citing a lack of evidence for such an event. Others argue that the biblical account of the flood is a myth and should not be taken literally. Despite the controversy, though, Collins and his team are convinced that they have found the biblical Mount Ararat. They continue to study the site and hope to one day uncover more evidence to support their theory. Mount Nimrod is a fascinating archaeological site that holds the potential to unlock one of history's greatest mysteries. The search for Noah's Ark has captivated people for centuries, and the discovery of the biblical Mount Ararat would be a monumental find. While there is still much debate surrounding the site, one thing is certain. Mount Nimrod is a testament to the power of belief and the enduring legacy of one of the world's most beloved stories. Regardless of whether or not Mount Nimrod is proven to be the biblical Mount Ararat, the site itself is worth exploring. The mountain is located in eastern Turkey, near the city of Doğubayazıt. It stands at an elevation of nearly 18,000 feet and is covered in snow for most of the year. The mountain is also home to a variety of ancient ruins, including the remains of a Urartian fortress and a medieval monastery. In addition to the archaeological sites, Mount Nimrod is also home to a variety of caves that are inhabited by bats. These caves are home to thousands of bats, which make Mount Nimrod one of the most important bat sanctuaries in the region. Exploring Mount Nimrod is not an easy task. The mountain is very remote, and the roads leading to it are often difficult to navigate. However, the journey is well worth it for those who are able to make the trek. The views from the summit are breathtaking, and the sense of history and mystery that surrounds the mountain is truly awe-inspiring. So what do you think? Is Mount Nimrod really the biblical Mount Ararat where Noah's Ark came to rest? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell so that you do not miss any of my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Bye.